A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, Nightcast Creative, Dicey Cantina, and Erica Goodwitch present Path of the Storm, a High Republic story. The galaxy is at peace, the Nihil are defeated. But trouble brews in the Anoat Sector. Trade disputes have turned into revolution on the desert moon of Nar Hypa. The Noble Court has called on 3 Jedi Knights to settle matters as the situation quickly escalates. But as they depart from the Jedi Temple on Bavva, a dark presence lurks on the edge of their minds.
Hi, I'm Andrew, host of the Dicey Cantina, and in this series I'll be playing Bekros, a Sentinel artisan and hotshot pilot. Bekros is a Keldor whose silver irises indicate his affinity in the Force. He is of average height and size with a deep orange skin tone, and he leaves his customized breathing mask on 90% of the time, being that he's away from Keldor most often. Bekros has tinkered with just about everything mechanical in his life. His lightsaber looks a little more cobbled together than most, with gears and sprockets making up the hilt. But more than anything, he loves to fly. His emotional strength is his enthusiasm, and he loves tackling new errors and problems. However, his enthusiasm is balanced by his emotional weakness, recklessness. Bekros hasn't been a Jedi for very long, despite his age. The kind beings within the Order would say that he was simply held back a year, or 5, and the more honest masters would confirm that Bekros cares more greatly for flying and flying machines than any of the other tasks they've set for him.
Hey, I'm called Erica, and you've heard me on shows like Dice for Brains, Coruscant Nights, and the Dicey Cantina. In this High Republic miniseries, I'll be playing Lodi Verton, a consular arbiter. Lodi is a female Mickian, and she stands tall at nearly 6 feet, though her long flowing tendrils make her appear even taller than that. Her skin shifts from blue to green, her eyes somewhere in the middle, and most striking is the diamond eye tattoo in the center of her forehead. She's been a Jedi Knight, and an adult, long enough that she is confident and refined, while still young at 32 years of age. Lodi is silver-tongued, using both her impressive Jedi skills and her charisma to aid in various Jedi outreach programs. She is charitable by nature, giving endlessly to the galaxy around her. But this is balanced by martyrdom, as she grows increasingly frustrated with those beings who would take advantage of others' generosity, whether hers or someone else's.
Hi, I'm Isabella Jones, who you might know from Dice for Brains, and tonight I will be joining as Nikisa Anator, a Sentinel Shadow. Nikisa is a human of average height and build, average face, slightly androgynous, square jaw, thick nose, but still feminine lips, long, blue, straight hair, with a skin that it's not necessarily white, but it looks like it hasn't touched the sun in a while. Mostly because she will always prefer to stay indoors with her computers, her machines, instead of out and about in the sun, surrounded by people. She's known for having a certain aggressive stance that at the same time almost demands you to look away and not notice her. And her emotional weakness is her pride. The pride that comes from her analytical mind, which, funny enough, it's her emotional strength. She's a good person to have around when situations get a little dire. She will not lose her cool. And the problem with that, it's exactly because she's a little too confident on her own skills and abilities and thinking she's a little bit the best. She's usually wearing concealing robes of darker colors and seen carrying her dual-bladed saber with a darkish blue hue to it, mostly like the scary blue screen from your computer. And although she won't be jumping into fights, she will finish them if she has to. Nikisa is usually called as the backup plan. She will be there analyzing the situation, and if things go well and diplomacy works, her work won't be necessary, but when all else fails, she's the one that's going to be finding a backdoor, hidden information, little secrets that can be used in the Jedi's favor.
a small passenger ship flies through space, leaving Bavva behind, this small marble of green and rusty red. In the passenger area of the ship, we see our 3 Jedi, Lodi, Bekros, and Nikisa. The 3 of them huddle around a small table, and on that table there's a holo projector, and you can see the little hologram of Kel standing there. There's been some trouble on Nar Hypa, the noble court. I think you've heard of them. They are blockading the planet, and the citizens of Nar Hypa, along with the Republic, have asked the Jedi to intervene and try and sort things out. Porbo and I are taking the Nihil prisoners to Bespin to take care of, the paperwork and whatnot. So we're not going to be able to help out with this one. The council decided to send in our new friend Nikisa. I hope you 3 will get along well. If you have any more questions about things, I'm only a comm away, but this should be pretty straightforward.
I'm assuming we have a mission, document, portfolio to flip through at our leisure?
It's all on a data pad. Your pilot, Luna Dross, has a bunch of stuff for you to look through. She will take you wherever you need to go.
Do we have somewhere that we are supposed to meet up to speak to? Was it the noble court or the citizens of Nar Hypa?
That's up to you. However you feel you can handle this situation best. Nar Hypa is a desert moon. It's not particularly hospitable, so you can meet up with the locals in the spaceport there. The noble court, their capital is on the planet Council. It shouldn't be too difficult to arrange a meeting with somebody from the court.
Has Lodi dealt with this noble court before?
I would say that in setting up a Jedi Temple in the sector, she probably had to get permission from the noble court.
And what planet are they on again?
Their capital is on Council, but they are pretty much the rulers of the Anoat Sector. They rule over a number of systems in the sector, and to do anything around here, you need their permission. Bavva is one of the few independent planets in the sector, and the rest of them mostly rely on the court for
governance.
Any governance or dealing with other parts of the galaxy.
I'm familiar with the noble court. Do you know what representative we'll be dealing with for the situation on Nar Hypa?
Captain Dross can put you in touch with Romar. He's young, but in line for the throne.
I just want to make sure that I fully remember. So what we're trying to do is make them open the planet again. I'm kind of lost.
There is a conflict between a ruling group and one of their constituent planets.
Okay. Planet is the one that is like, we don't want
so
to
the
play
planet,
with everyone else anymore.
Nar Hypa is a desert moon of the planet Mata'u. We're going to call it Mata'u. Any other information that we have is in that data file that your captain has. You can pull up all the relevant information there. Our ship is just getting to Bespin. We've got some stuff to take care of. So let me know if you need anything. I will try to answer my comms. I think I'm going to be pretty busy with the people here, but just let me know if anything. Hopefully everything goes well.
We should have it handled. We'll call you if we find any Nihil, though.
I hope not.
May the Force be with us.
And the little holo projector goes out.
Bye, Kel.
The captain puts the ship in autopilot, leaving Bavva behind, and walks back to the 3 of you with 3 data pads.
Yeah, Nikisa gets straight to business, starts opening the logs, reading the material. Not much of an introductions and hey, let's do a fun getting to know each other game or anything. She's just straight to information. Reads whatever.
Are we the only passengers on the ship?
Yep, it's just the 3 of you.
Yeah, Lodi's much the same way, just right to the data to familiarize herself with Romar and the planet and see if she can find any information on why it was blocked off in the first place.
Yeah. As Nikisa takes the data pad, can you tell us what Nikisa looks like?
Oh, yes. So Nikisa is a human, average height and build. Looks like, I wouldn't say she looks like a model or anything. She looks a little bit like almost like not an aggressive stance, but there's something about like almost like an edge to the posture of like, maybe she's not like a fighter, but she has to. It's more of a person that looks always like almost facing up. She's a little like up and mighty, and she has long blue hair, like a dark shade of blue, very straight. The features are almost androgynous, like a kind of a thick nose, somewhat of a square jaw, but still like feminine lips. She wears the concealing robes that are very pertinent to a sentinel shadow. And dark colors. It's kind of almost like also she's there and she's not. I think the aggressiveness of the posture also kind of demands you to look away.
Okay. Dark colors is an interesting choice in the time of the High Republic, too. Because as she begins to go through the data pad on information about Nar Hypa and what is going on there, what is Lodi looking like these days, sitting adjacent to Nikisa?
Lodi looks like she's sitting straight. She's got her legs crossed, graceful, but there's bags under her eyes. Like maybe she's not getting her full 8 hours of sleep. And she looks up and she surveys the passenger bay every so often. So she's definitely not entirely at ease, and a little on edge.
And what's she looking for in the information packet?
Oh, she's familiarizing herself with the major figures, so Ramar,
Okay.
whoever is heading up the citizen group, and trying to find what the exact reason for the blockade is.
Great. So Nikisa's looking at information on Nar Hypa. It is a trading hub and spaceport. It is in the Mata'u system of the Anoat Sector. It's mostly deserts. It's going to be all moisture farmers and people who work at the spaceports. Being a desert, most of their food is going to be imported. So the blockade that is happening there is leaving a lot of the citizenry hurting. Looking through all this information, you see that the reason that they are being blockaded right now is because they are vying for their independence. Every conflict that has happened so far has been peaceful, but with the lack of resources coming in, things look like they might not remain peaceful for much longer. The citizens there are being led by a farmer named Aster Ram. You don't have much information on her except that she's been very vocal and is the owner of one of the farms there. Romar is the heir to the noble court. When his mother, Queen Yama, passes away eventually, he will become King Romar.
So he's a prince.
He is a prince. As these two are going through all this information, what is Bekros doing?
Bekros is pacing around the passenger compartment. He's not really one for homework. He's kind of checking out the systems and the ship. Probably ducked his head into the cockpit a few times just to see how things are going. Yeah, he's excited to be out on a mission, but when it comes to all this diplomatic talk, he's used to leaving that to the other Jedi. He's definitely picked up the trait from Horbo. He brings snacks along with them, make sure that Lodi and Nikisa can eat while they pore over the data pads.
Is he looking any different these days than the last time we saw him?
Yeah, he tends to kind of absent-mindedly pore over the hilts of his lightsabers. He's taken to modifying them a little bit here and there. so they can work together in tandem for the way that he likes to do it. And he can, after being up for a while, he'll also like sit down and kind of rub his side and his abdomen where he was struck down by the Nihil. He, like Lodi, is a bit more on edge than his carefree attitude of old was. He hasn't lost it completely. He's still enthusiastic, but he definitely has a lot on his mind as well.
I would like knowledge rolls from Lodi and Nikisa.
Okay.
You may choose the knowledge, and you can choose the difficulty.
Should we roll up some tokens as well?
We probably should get some light side, dark side points going here.
Okay.
So I rolled 1 light side.
2.
2 light side?
2 light side.
Impressive.
2 light side as well.
This is terrible.
And I'm still a paragon.
There we go. 1 dark
Look
side.
who brought
Thank
the dark
you
side.
so much for that.
We have 6 light side points.
6 light side points and 1 dark side point. I hate
Jeebus.
this. So start using them.
I don't know what to use it on right now, sorry.
All right, so you have a knowledge check. You can roll any knowledge except core. You know what? You could even roll core worlds.
You know what? Here. You may have one of those points
Excellent.
as I upgrade my check. I'm going to argue for a boost die, seeing as I have a data pad in my hands right now where I'm reading all this information.
I would like to request the boost die as well.
I will allow it. What skill are you rolling?
Outer Rim.
Outer Rim.
I am gonna roll Underworld.
Underworld. Excellent. Okay.
What's the difficulty?
You tell me.
Can I ask for another boost die? Because that's basically why they probably invited me to this mission.
Tell me a little bit about Nikisa's past and why she would know about the underworld around here.
It's definitely an area of interest. Her specialty is backdoors and going around the regular routes. She is the one that you call when you're like, okay, we're gonna try the diplomatic way and we're gonna try reasoning. And if all doesn't go well, we do have a backdoor plan. It's a fun hobby for her to find stuff like that. To have the knowledge that is like not common knowledge.
You can have that boost.
Lodi gets another boost die because we've already established that she's worked with the noble court before. So she probably knows Roman by face, and he knows her face. So 2 boost dies.
Yes, but
also this is my home sector.
It is, yeah.
Don't forget that.
No, I don't have a dark setback for you. You didn't want to roll any difficulty dice?
No,
I forgot 3.
I forgot about that.
Right.
I rolled 3 difficulty dice.
And your results?
6 advantage.
6 advantages. Okay. How difficult would you like to make Nikisa's check?
If I am being 100% honest, probably it's between a 2 and a 3. So, just because I'm a good partner to Erica and Lodi, I'm gonna go the same as her.
Do
We'll
3 purple dice.
Yeah.
Screw that. Do formidable. Roll 5.
Nah,
What could go wrong?
This can go wrong.
Okay. All right. Nikisa's results were 2 advantages and on a hard check, and Lodi got, was it 6 advantages on a hard check?
Yeah.
Is that what you said? 6?
Yep.
Okay. So I don't think Nikisa spent a lot of time. She may have spent a lot of time in the Outer Rim, but not in the Anoat Sector. But the name of this moon, Nar Hypa, is ringing a bell, but you can't quite place why.
Okay.
Do you have any ideas for all of those advantages for Lodi?
I'm not good at spending advantages.
So Lodi is thinking about the noble court, thinking about what she learned about them growing up in this sector, knowing that they control many worlds in the sector and that they have done so for a very, very long time. One thing I will give you just because it's good information. I think it may be worthy of an advantage or two, is that they are not part of the Republic and don't show any signs of joining the Republic. Does anybody have ideas for the rest of those advantages?
I've got one suggestion.
Okay.
Depending on how many are left over, could Lodi have a contact with the court as well? Someone she's dealt with to try and get the temple
I know
going.
somebody.
If you want to spend all of your advantages, I will not only give you a contact, but a good contact.
I'm down for that.
Okay.
I got a good contact.
It's a good contact because it comes with some information. What is this person's name?
Bick Farsi.
Bick. Yeah. So Bick is one of the advisors to the noble court. And when you think advisor, you normally think, just somebody that advises. But noble court advisors are something special because they all can use the Force. They even teach the Force to teach how to do certain things with the Force to Force sensitive nobles if they ever pop up.
Interesting.
All right, that was your successful roll, or your fail of a roll. Congratulations on that good fail.
So my 2 advantages is just that the name rings a bell and I don't know why?
I mean, I think that's your failure.
Okay.
Do you have any ideas for those advantages? So this is thinking about that moon, the planet it rotates around, the conflict with the blockade going on there.
I feel like I have this maybe somewhat of an idea, but it might be not enough advantages for it.
Tell me what it is, and I'll tell you if it works.
I just keep thinking of the maybe what it rings a bell is a location that I've heard of before where other shadows might go to get information, like a bar or something, or a trading hub, a specific vendor at the trading hub that is I don't know why, I feel like someone have told me a name, something like that, but I feel like maybe I don't have enough advantages for that.
So for 2 advantages, I will say that you can know a place, but you can know a place, but it's not a great place. And if you go there, maybe it's a place that is not going to be welcome to people from the core worlds. It's not going to be welcome to outsiders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it is, I think it's the Spaceport Cantina, Dregs.
Dregs.
Okay.
Yeah, Dregs Cantina. So the 2 of you pour over the information, rack your brains for anything else that you might know about these planets involved in this conflict. Bekros, sort of antsy, walking around the space. As you do that, do you want to describe what the interior of this ship looks like?
Sure. So I'm picturing that this ship is similar to other shuttles. It's not necessarily very big, but it's large enough to be comfortable. It's got the passenger area in the back that had the table in the middle where you can send and receive holo messages, some seats kind of off to the side, and a little kitchenette at the back, and fresher, right back there. And then a small passageway off of one side leads up to the front, and the cockpit is the majority of the front of the ship.
And walking down the walk from the cockpit, you spot Captain Dross. She is Republic Expeditionary Force. So she's got the Republic uniform on, and as she walks back, she calls out to the 3 of you.
All right, we're about 15 minutes away from the hyperspace jump point. Where are we going?
Nar Hypa.
Nar Hypa. Okay. You 3 know what you're getting into there? I guess it's none of my business, but I've got to be able to land this thing.
They're expecting us. We should be able to land in the spaceport.
All right, I'll set a course.
And she walks back up to the front of the ship.
Bekros follows and slides into the co-pilot seat.
She glances over as you slide in and moves some toggles and pushes some buttons and flicks some things above her head. The captain takes the ship to the jump point, and the three of you jump into hyperspace. The journey is uneventful, and you come out of hyperspace with a large red planet below you with moons circling around it. The planet below you looks hot, like a desert, and these planets the planet and moon sit on the edge of a large nebula. You can see the colors in blue and red stars inside them, the lines of dust and growing planetary systems inside the nebulosity. The ship you're in makes its way towards Nar Hypa, which you can now see has a number of large capital ships floating above its surface. They are big and golden, their metallic outsides shining in the bright sunlight. They have intricate patterns on them. If you didn't know that they were battleships, you would think that they were out for a parade or something. And there's a call on your comms, and Captain Dross says,
"This is T1 Shuttle Thranta. We're here on an official request from the Noble Court."
And a voice comes through the comms.
"Incoming shuttle, please transmit your clearance code and wait in the holding zone."
Very matter of fact. The ship you're on slows, and Luna calls back.
"I think we're going to be about 20 minutes. If you all don't have a plan, you should think about making one."
Lodi stands up from where she was sitting and moves up to the cockpit.
Okay, so what are the possibilities? Where do we want to start? There's definitely more than one place that we need to go.
Well, I mean, first things first, getting past the blockade and onto the planet is the good place to start. Should be able to get down planet side, no problem. It's more getting off the planet that I'm worried about. But if they give us problems, then I'll just ask for Bic.
If it's a matter of flying you off planet, I've got you covered. You expecting a fight?
No, it is a blockade. They are preventing anyone from leaving. If we need to leave, then I don't know. We should be able to work with the Noble Court just fine. We're just here as mediators between the Noble Court and the independence movement.
Do we want to start with the court, or do we want to start with the people? It might lead to a better rapport with the citizen group if we make it known that we are hearing their voice without biased information from the royal court.
That's what I would like. I'd like to hear from, who is the farmer leader person?
Aster Ram.
Aster, yeah. Let's hear from Aster. Without the Noble Court looking over our shoulders would be.
No, absolutely. We just have to get past them first.
Yeah, but definitely we should arrange a meeting with her to hear, since the blockade and the reasoning of it is their protest, and we should hear their side, their demands or their desires, and be able to talk to them without the threat of them thinking that we are already coming with an agenda from the Noble Court. I think they will be more open to our presence and possible negotiations if they see us as allies and not a tool from the Noble Court.
Did the data pads tell you where we would meet up with Aster?
I think that is part of our job, is to figure it out how to arrange a meeting.
Yeah.
Cool.
I would like to leave it as a last resort, but if we cannot arrange an official meeting or find amicable ways to arrange a meeting with Aster, there is a place that we can go to get information on how to possibly do it. It is just, I would rather keep it as a last resource because it might not be as friendly and it might make it difficult for us. It's a cantina and they're not very friendly to outsiders, as I've been told by colleagues, but it is a resource in case we need.
Well, what do they class as outsiders? Just anyone that's not from Nar Hypa or anyone not from the sector? Because I'm not an outsider.
Anyone from the core worlds.
There's a buzz on the comms, and you hear that voice come back.
Thrata, you are cleared for passage. You're free to land.
Step 1 completed.
You see the large capital ships slowly drifting away. There's a small squadron of fighters that passes close to your ship as your captain takes the ship down to the planet's surface. Getting closer to the planet, you can see that it is very dry, very desolate. The ship comes down over the dusty landscape, and you see the small homesteads of moisture farmers and the lone moisture evaporators in the fields. You skim some mountains and canyons, and eventually a large spaceport comes into view. It's kind of what you expect to see when visiting a desert planet. The architecture is very familiar to the eyes of those of you who have spent time in the Outer Rim. The buildings are domed and light stone, and Captain Dross brings the ship into a landing bay in the spaceport. As you come down, dust plumes out from under the ship as its landing gear comes down. And the ramp comes down, and the captain says,
All right, I'll stay with the ship. I've got my comms on if you need anything. If you need a quick getaway, I can probably make that happen.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Path of the Storm. I'm your GM and host for this season, Mark. You can find my podcast, Coruscant Nights, in the other place wherever you listen to your podcasts. Bekros is played by Andrew from Dicey Cantina. Be sure to check out Dicey Cantina's newest podcast, The Foxglove Letters, out now wherever you get your podcasts. Stay tuned after the credits for a trailer of The Foxglove Letters. Lodi is played by Erica Goodwitch. You can also find Erica on the newest season of Heroes of the Hydian Way. Check the show notes for all of her links. Nikisa is played by Isabella Jones. Thank you to Nicki and Zach from Tales of the Outer Rim for lending their voices to this episode. This episode of Path of the Storm was produced by Nightcast Creative. For info on all of our shows, RPGs, and everything else we do, visit nightcastcreative.com.
Dear Father, I received an invitation to help a friend. I couldn't have known that it would be the beginning of everything changing.
Across Kellybrook, the Grand River Miathu runs across green fields and dark forests on its way to the sea. Across the river mouth strides the industrious city of Elenwick. Piers and cranes stretch out into its natural harbor, choked with ocean-faring merchant ships offloading their goods to travel upriver to the capital. Crowded cobblestone roads lead away from the docks into the city proper. At the end of one such road, many buildings sit in want of repair and a fresh coat of paint. Among these buildings, we find the Dicey Cantina.
I simply cannot take no for an answer, Luther. Not this time.
Dear sister, I do understand the situation that you were in, but I think I'm coming down with something in my throat, and I really don't want to give that to the guests. That would be very poor form.
You can bring a handkerchief.
But I seem to misplace them.
She pulls from her sleeve a handkerchief.
Professor Pickleson? I need to be able to be mobile in this, and I'll have to be able to hide my pistol. Don't forget, I'm a veteran professor, and Lockwood sent us in here, so please.
Yes, Professor. We hadn't planned on these alterations, but I mean, what Julia asks for...
Julia gets. Yes, we know. I'm with you.
I can make these alterations.
I appreciate it.
Ah, James, my boy. You would have a comfortable place to be here within the university.
The people of Elenwick have a different history than the people of the islands to the south and to the west, and we all have perspectives. That is something that the University of Elenwick is sorely lacking.
Dr. Downing is fresh perspectives.
I do wish you would reconsider.
I'm sorry, Dr. Downing. My mind is made up. I need to take a leave. And if there is no space for me at the university when I come back, well...
James, don't be hasty.
Ivy Cunningham. We wouldn't want to fall in with the wrong crowd about or anything like that. If you...
That is so kind of you. I'm quite comfortable, I assure you. But it makes me feel so much better to know that you're there and offering. We'll have to do a brunch sometime.
Well, be sure to stay in touch. Your mother is asking about you.
She acquiesces and leaves.
Oh, well, that was delightful. Shall we get some champagne?
Please.
Welcome to the Foxglove Letters, a thrilling Gaslamp fantasy RPG actual play podcast set in our custom world of Ithne. Follow the adventures of our analytical-minded Lord Luther Lockwood, a former military man turned minder, Penwise Pickleson, our idealistic academic, James McCullough, and our dreamer longing for adventure, Ivy Cunningham. They will journey from the bustling docks of Elenwick, travel the shores of Breath, and brave the passes of the Glennick Peaks. Our heroes will encounter unknown dangers, strange creatures, and discover secrets that have been hidden away for centuries. Will they be able to unravel these myths and mysteries of Ithne, or will they fall victim to the unseen dangers that await them? Tune in starting April 30th to find out. The Foxglove Letters is a production of Dicey Cantina. Subscribe with your favorite podcatcher and on YouTube to follow our heroes on their epic adventure. And as always, find out more on diceycantina.com. We'll see you there.